Hello, I'm Diana Rodriguez, the founder of QuickMathics, and this is our first lesson for geometry. And the first unit is going to be coordinate geometry, which is based on points, quadrants, which are the different part of the graph, um, locations of points, a distance formula, midpoint, and all of that kind of stuff. So let's go to the first exercise. And we have this. On the number line below, A has a weight of 30% and B has a weight of 70%. What is the weighted average of point A and B? Now, as you can see, they're asking about percent. And what I want you to guys think every time you see a percent, it means over 100. So 30% is equal to 30 over 100, which is the same as 0.3. And 70% is equal to 70 over 100, which is equal to 0.7. Now, they're asking for the weighted average. The weighted average is the same as adding the percentage of the numbers together. So we say 30% of A, which is the same of 0.3A, plus 70% of B, which is the same as 0.7B. Now, when we substitute our values, we have that A is 3, so we say 0.3 is 9, 0.3 times 9, plus B is 14, so 0.7 times 14. We can go to our calculator. Sorry for this. 0.3 times 9, we got 2.7. For 14, that's 0.7, we got 9.8, so we have this. 0.3 is 2.7, and 14 times 0.7 is 9.8. Now we need to add this together, and we are going to get 12.5. You can always use your calculator if you want. You see, we got 12.5. So we see our choices, and we see that our answer is choice C. Now, question number 2. In the number line below, P has a weight of 5 over 6, and Q has a weight of 1 over 6. What is the weighted average of point P and Q? Now, this is basically the same as before, but now we are working with fractions. The weighted average is still going to be the value of P, like the corresponding weight of the value multiplied by P, plus the corresponding weight of the value multiplied by Q. So we have 1 over 6P plus 5 over 6P plus 1 over 6Q. And then we substitute our values, and we have 5 over 6, 2 plus 1 over 6, 14. Oh, this is multiplying. No. Since there are fractions always multiply numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator. And you might think that, just to clarify first, this is the numerator and this is the denominator. The numerator is always in the upper part and the denominator is always in the lower part. And you might think, but this the two doesn't have a denominator. But the truth is that every number that is like a integer, the denominator is going to be 1. So 2 is equal to 2 over 1, since 2 divided by 1 is still 2. So we say 5 times 2 is going to be equal, I put it right here, 10. 6 times 1 is going to be equal 6. Now plus 1 times 14 is still 14, and 6 times 1 is 6. Now, since they have the same denominator, we can just leave the denominator in the bottom and add the numerators, which is, since, like, you guys should know this from Algebra 1, but I explain it anyway. When you're adding or subtracting two fractions, what you need to do is make the denominators equals. Since this job is already done here, we don't need to do any calculations and just combine and perform the proper calculations for the number for this equation, which is going to be 10 plus 14. But if the denominators were different, we need to do another step to make them equal. Now, since they're both 6, we just put this, and it's going to be 10 plus 14 is 24, so 24 over 6. And when we divide 24 by 6, we're going to get 4. You can, if you want to check, you can always go to your calculator and check. But this is our result, and and when we go to our choices, we see that it's choice A. Now, this is more than a tricky question since our answer choices are not numbers, they are sentences. So it's always going to confuse us. But as you can see, they also contain numbers. So maybe let's read it and see what we need to do. Points K and L are shown on the number line below. Is the weight is the weights of points K and L are the same, which statements are true? Now, if they both are the same, we can say that um, each weight is going to be 50%. Like each point is going to be 50% of the average. Since 50% plus 50% is going to be 100%. So each one should be 50% of the total value. Keeping that in mind, we can calculate what is the value of the weighted average. So we can say that 0.5, which is the same as 50%, K plus 0.5L is going to be equal to the weighted average. I'm not gonna write it, just keeping that in mind. So we can substitute our values and we have 0.5 K, which is 1, plus 0.5 L, which is 8, is going to be our average. We have 0.5 times 1, which equals 0.5, and 0.5 times H, which is times 8, which is equal 4. 0.5 plus 4 is equal 4.5, and we have that our weighted average is 4.5. And when we read our options, we get lesser of 4.5, false, greater of 4.5, false, cannot be determined. In like very little cases, this is going to even be an answer, since most of the time we can calculate the things. So in this case, specific is false. If we see, we can calculate it. So we have choice C that stables that the weighted average of K and L is 4.5. Now, question 4. On the number line, the coordinates of point A and B are 11 and 23 respectively. If the weight of A is 1/3 and the weight of B is 4/6, what is the weighted average of point A and B? Now, this is basically the same as we did here. The difference is that, as I mentioned it earlier, they have different denominator. But this is kind of easy example. So we know that the average the weighted average is going to be 1/3, as it says here, of A plus 4/6 of B, as it says here. So we substitute our values. This is gonna be 1/3 of 11, which is A, plus 4/6 of B, of 23, which is B. Now what I would do is I would just simplify this, since we can divide 4 by 2 and we get 2, and 6 by 2 and we get 3. So we can say that 4 over 6 is equal to over 3. So we can get the same denominator. So I hope you remember this from algebra 1. If not, it's just that if you have a fraction that you can simplify, just do it. In mathematics, most of the time, the answer must be the most simplified one. Like it's they are not going to accept a 4 over 6 if you can put a 2 over 3, which is the simplified version. Now we have this, we just continue our calculation. So 1 times 11 is 11, 3 times 1, which is the denominator of 11, is 3, so 3 over 11. 2 times 23 is 46, 3 times 1 is 3, so we have 43 times 3, over 3. Since the denominator is equal, we can just put it all along and say 11 plus 46, which equal 57 over 3, which is going to be 19 points. If not, you can go to your calculator and say 57 divided by 3 is going to give you 19. And our answer is going to be 19. This is the weighted average for these 2 points. Now, here we have another number line with points A and B. But now it's a problem and we have 6 different choices. So we need to read the problem and analyze what we need to do. Now, Flora finds the weighted average W1 of point A and B by considering the weights as 0.8, sorry, and 0.2 respectively. After a while, she finds the weighted W2 of point A and B considering their weights as 0.2 and 0.8 respectively. Select all the statements that are true. Now, to do this, we need to calculate the average, the weighted average. So this is basically what we have done before. We have for W1, we have that 0.8 A plus 0.2 B, which is going to be equal 0.8 of 22 plus 0.2 of 27. We will go to our calculator, which in the test you're going to have one. 17.6, and then 0.2 times 27, which is 5.4, and we add the results and we get 23 if I'm not mistaken. Oops. Yep, 23. And now, so this, I'll make it, is going to be W1. Now for W2, we have like The A is equal 0. The weight of A is 0.2 and B is 0.8, as it states here. So we can calculate numbers and W2, and we have equals 0.2 times 22 and 0 plus 0.8 times 27. We go to our calculator. We have 4.4 plus 21.6. And we get that our value is 26, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 26. So W2 is going to be equal 26. Now, let's read the statements and see what are true. W1 is lesser than W2. Yep, that's true. Because as we see here, W1 is to the left of W2. And every number that is to the left in the number line is lesser than the ones in the right. So that's true. W1 is not greater because of what I explained, so this is not. And W1 is closer to A than to B. Yes, that's true. You can see it here. It's only 1 point apart from A, 3 points, 4 points apart from B. W2 is closer to B than to A. Yes, it's the same case as W1. Now W1 is 23. That's true also. And because it says that W1 is 26. Well, this is the value of W2 and it's only there to confuse yourself. Now let's go to exercise number 6. I'm sorry if my voice is not as higher at the beginning. It's just that I've been talking for an hour and a half and I'm not used to it, but I'll be fine, don't worry. And now points A, B, and C shown on the number line have weights, I'm sorry, WI, WB, and WC respectively. If what is the weighted average of the points A, B, and C, if WA is 30%, WB is 10%, and WC is 60%. This is basically the same as we have done before. The only difference is that there are now 3 numbers instead of 2, but it's almost the same. As I explained in the beginning, 30% is the same as 0.3. So I will say 0.3A plus, in this case, 0.1, 0.1B. Since it is a percent, it is divided by 100. So 10 divided by 100 is 0.1, and in case of C, it's going to be 0.6C. Now we substitute our values and we get that the weighted average is going to be 0.3 of 2, 0.1 of 7, plus 0.6 of 8. So we go to our calculator, 0.3 times 2, 0.6. This is going to be 0.7 and 0.6 of 8. I'll tell you right now. Wait, this is 0.7. I don't know what I put on. Just to check if you want. Now 0.6 times 8 is 4.8. So we got our results. We get uh 6.1. So our average is going to be 6.1, which is the same as 6.10 as option D. Um, Showcases. Now, if the weight of A and B are interchanged to 60 and 30 respectively, and the weight of B remains the same, which of the following statements are true? And we need to select all that apply. This is almost the same with it here, but with other numbers. So what we're gonna do is actually calculate the weight. So this time is going to be 0.6A plus 0.1B plus 0.3C. So 0.6 of 2 plus 0.1 of 7 plus 0.3 of 8. Now we go to our calculator. 0.6 of 2 is 1.2 plus 0.7 plus 0.3 of 8 is going to be 2.4. So this is going to be 4.3. And our result is going to be 4.3. So let's read the options. The new weighted average is greater than the weighted average found in part A. The new one is 4.3. The part A one is 6.1. 6.1 is greater than 4.3. So this statement is false. Now, the new weighted average is to the left of the weighted average found in part A. If we plug in this into the graph, we see that weighted average one is 6.1 is going to be over here. Where the weighted average 2 is 4.3, it's going to be over here. So yes, the weighted average, the new weighted average is to the left of the starting weighted average. So this is true. Now the new weighted average is closer to B than the weighted average found in part A. As you can see, the new one is here and the one in part A is here. So this statement is clearly false since the one in part A was way closer to B. So this statement is false. The new weight average is 1.43. This old statement is also false and we got the result and it's 4.3. So also question B is true because the new weighted average is in fact 4.3 as we got in our calculations. Now the next exercise. Now this is the midpoint formula. You must already have started this in your class, and if I'm not mistaken, you're going to receive a formula sheet for your test, but I'm not sure since the tests have changed over the years, and but you should get it in the website. You should get the formula. But just in case, the midpoint formula is always going to be x2 minus x1 divided by 2, comma, y2 minus y1 divided by 2. And this is going to be give you the new point, the new coordinate for the point. Let me just make this smaller and leave it here. Now we have the 2 points, x and y, and we want to find the midpoint of the segment xy. So we just plug in. This is our x1, this is our x2, this is our y1, this is our y2. Sincerely, the order doesn't matter. Oh, this is plus, this is the minus. I'm sorry, that was my bad. You can put x1 first and x2 first. I just like to do it like that. But it's up to you. Use the x plus the x and the y is plus the y's. So this is going to be equal to 3 plus -2 over 2, comma 1 plus 7 over 2. We make our calculations and we get, I put it here, 3 plus -2, since they have like different term, we subtract the greater minus the smaller, which is 2 minus 3. And since 3 has a positive sign, our result is going to be positive. So 3 minus 2 is 1, so we get 1 over 2. Comma 1 plus 7 is equal 8 divided by 2. So we get 0 0.5, or you can leave it in fraction if you want. 0 0.5, comma 4. And that's our midpoint. Now, question 8 also asks for the midpoint. So you just use the formula, you add the 2x, which is going to be -4 plus 2, since these are the x, divided by 2, comma, 3 plus 5, since these are the y's, divided by 2. And we have -2 plus 2, plus 2, -4 plus 2. Since they have different signs, we subtract the greater by the smaller, which is 4, minus 2, which equals 2. But since the 4 has a negative sign, our result must also be negative. So we get -2 over 2. Now, 3 plus 5 equals 8. So we have 8 over 2 again. And -2 divided by 2, they have different signs, so the negative is going to be kept, so we get 2 by 2, 2 divided by 2 is 1, -1 in this case, and 8 divided by 2 is 4, and this is going our result, -1, 4. Now I think I'll just solve this exercise and maybe one more, but don't worry, I'll be back next week with a new, just to continue working this kind of exercises. Now, the end point of the diameter of the circle are this and this, where the coordinates of the center of the circle. Now, if you know a little bit about circles, you know that they are like this. Now, this right here that crosses exactly the middle, which is right here, is the diameter, which is normally represented by a D. The center of the circle is right in the middle of the diameter. So this kind of questions is just asking for the midpoint. It's like a fancy way to ask for the midpoint that can confuse you sometimes. But it's just using the formula and finding the number as we have done in the two past exercises. You just need to keep that in your mind. So you have these 2 points. I'll keep this right here just in case. But you have these 2 points, so you have the x and the y. So 0 plus -6 divided by 2, comma, a plus 0. This is the y. Wait, this is the y, this is the y, this is the x, this is the x. Divided by 2, we get -5 divided by 2, comma, 0 divided by 2. -6 divided by 2 is 3, but since there is a negative and a positive, our result must be negative, so result is -3, and 8 divided by 2 is 4, so it's -3, 4. And this is our answer. Now I'll answer this last exercise. And I'll be back next week to keep working on this. Now the coordinates of the midpoint of a line segments are 7, -7, 3. The coordinates of one endpoint of the line of the segment is -3, 1. What are the coordinates of the other endpoint? Now, as you can see, you only have one endpoint and you have the result. What I always liked to do when I was taking this class was divide the formula in two. I know that for the x coordinate, my formula is x1 plus x2, or x2 plus 1, it doesn't matter, divided by 2, is equal to the x value. And for the y part is y1 plus y2 divided by 2 is equal to the y value. Now we have one of the x's and the x value, and we have one of the y's and the y value. So we can calculate to solve for the other x value and y value. That will give you the coordinates. So we have that. The midpoint of the center of the segment is -7, 3, but because so this x right here is going to be -7 since it is the value of the x of the midpoint, and this y right here is going to be 3 since it is the value of the y of the midpoint. Now for the other two values we can just substitute for the endpoint that we have. You see, the coordinate of one endpoint of the line segment is -3, 1. So we can see, I just put this smaller. Wait, especially this. I'm sorry. I can say that -3 plus x2 divided by 2 equals -7. And here I can say, let me make this also smaller. And then here I can say 1 plus y2 divided by 2 is equal to 3. Now it's just algebra we need to solve. We multiply each side by 2 to get rid of these 2. And we get -3 plus x2 equal -14 since -7 times 2. They have different signs, so the negative is going to be keep it. And 2 times 7 is 14. Now we add 3 in both sides so we can get rid of this 3, of this -3. And we get that x2 is equal, just adding 14 plus 3, -14 plus 3, they have different signs, so it's going to be keeping the sign of the greater number, which in this case is 14. So our result is going to be negative. 14 minus 3 is 11, so x2 is equal -11. Now for this one, it's the same. We multiply both sides by 2. I will get rid of this. So 1 plus y2 is equal. 3 times 2 is 6. So we subtract one of each side, and we get that y2 is equal 5. See, 6 minus 1 is equal 5. So our coordinates is going to be -11, 5, which is choice B. I hope this video was helpful for you. I'll be back next week explaining more concepts. Don't forget that you can join the channel and ask me questions while I'm explaining. I'm here to help. Um, just tell me if you have any doubt or if you need something else. Thank you.